Is that some tea?
No, it's not. It's actually just water.
Oh shit.
But I washed this cup, so I got this cup when I worked at Vans.
Ooh, okay, that's
And
badass.
it's
Actually,
like
that's a dope ass
an
cup.
employee only kind of.
Everyone has that one like really good cup that they like cherish. Like, oh, I got this cup from this place. And I'm like, oh,
And I like it. It's really not water. It's vodka.
this is Sprite and vodka and a little bit of PCP.
Exactly. So we'll dive into it. We'll kick it off. We'll get it going. So for our listeners who may not know who you are, this is my good buddy, Chris Hanowell. He's been a huge inspiration for me coming back into the world of card magic and kind of helping me segue into sitting here virtually with him doing a podcast interview. So I'll go ahead and let Chris take it away and kind of introduce himself. And I hope you guys enjoy this segment and tune in on the next one.
Hell yeah. What's going on, Daddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm feeling like a glorious dude.
Should we do some water ASMR? You know,
sip at the same time.
Sip. Yeah.
Take sips. So my name is Chris. I am a magic consultant, creator, and performer from the Atlanta area. I work at penguinmagic.com. I have a couple releases to the magic community. And now I'm here to talk about some creativity and all that jazz, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty cool. I didn't realize. So what I will say is that I met Chris when I knew of Chris because we were kind of in the same. We're both in Atlanta, so it's not. Although it sounds like a big city, it's really not. I mean, eventually you kind of know someone who knows someone who knows someone who might know someone.
Right, especially for magicians.
So yeah, exactly. Because I mean, how many magicians are there in Atlanta? There's a lot, but I think eventually we all find out about each other.
Right.
But I had been following you, as creepy as that may sound, on Instagram.
You've been following me from it's my house now.
In my car, driving around. That's so bad. We'll have to cut that out or leave it in.
Leave it in. Follow me on Venmo. Follow me on Cash App. Follow me up.
Yeah,
that joke will never die.
Exactly. But and so I had seen your stuff, and another friend of ours, Bear. You know, when I met Bear, he was pretty much telling me that he saw you do magic, and I guess when he was segueing back into doing magic, he had decided like, if he's doing magic and he has an internet presence, then why can't I? Like, I should be doing that as well.
Right. And dude, that's awesome, man. I to know that makes my heart like so full because like it's like, oh, I'm inspiring people to say you could do this shit too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the biggest thing, you know, for me is that like when I got back into magic after kind of seeing you do your show, you had your show on the Square, and then I think you did 2 shows. You did House of Magic, which was
I did a whole bunch of shows on the Square actually, at least 4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 5.
So for those who don't know, I'll fill you in. The Square that we're referencing is Marietta Square here in Marietta, Georgia. We're not in Marietta, Georgia. We're right outside. Right. But the Square, they have local theaters there. One of them is the Strand, which was like in decay for like years. And then they decided to revamp it and make it what it is now, which is now like a
place.
Yeah, a working theater with shows, which is what a concept, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, did you do the Strand or you did theater on the Square, right?
I did theater on the Square. I didn't do the Strand.
Okay.
I also did.
Do you know if they're funded differently?
They're definitely funded differently. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They're not a part of the same. Like I don't know. I know Raul. Raul Thomas owns theater in the Square, and then I'm not sure who owns the Strand. But I have done open mic there. But I think, you know, beyond all of the shows and stuff, and I love doing shows. Like selling out tickets is awesome. Like my favorite time performing on the Square was that Eddie was just working there before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And like it's such a amazing experience getting to sharpen your knife like after so much, like there's so many performances after doing card to mouth like like thousands of times, you don't it's just like in your blood at that point. So
and that's interesting because like I'm in an interesting situation, right? So you kind of you've kind of been a part of this journey since
Right.
the beginning. But
Since the inception.
yeah, exactly. So like it's interesting because like I've performed, right, for random people and family members and whatnot, but I haven't been on like a stage before. So, and even, you know, I was looking forward to Ring 9, the IBM Magic Club here in Georgia Magic Club.
Right.
When I did my, whatever you want to call it, trick to get in, I guess is the way to put it.
Right.
COVID happened, so like I didn't even
Oh,
get to perform
yeah.
in front of other magicians.
Dang. Yeah, I didn't consider that. Wow.
Yeah, so like even then I was looking forward to like performing for magicians and like fooling the shit out of magicians,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then COVID happened and then I just did it virtually. And that's like right when I was like, oh, this shit's going virtual really quick. I got to get my equipment, I got to get this, I got to get the microphone, I got to get, you know, the tripod and all this other stuff, and try to like get myself in a situation. And
Right.
I
Right.
did I tried to do Ben Earl's ace cutting routine. I don't know if were you in that meeting, that month's meeting when Bear was
Yeah, I
there. I know
was. Yeah, I
Bear
went
was
to that.
there.
Yeah, I definitely went to that. Yeah, man. Shout out
But
to
I did
Georgia
my
Magic Club
ace
for
cutting
real.
routine, which was, you know, it's a take on Ben Earl's,
Right.
but it's really just well, I won't say it, but um, I had to come up with something on the fly because I didn't think Mike Dunnigan, who's
Right.
what is he, the president?
He's the president. Yeah.
Not of all of the IBM, but just this ring. You know, it kind of took me a second. He was like, all right, for those who are going to perform, make sure you know, put it in the chat or whatever tonight to be voted in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to do something completely different. And at that point I was like still studying. So like, anyways, I came up with it on the fly and I was
You know
like,
what's weird? I think there is that kind of thing with like.
I don't know where I was going with that, but
No problem at all. From what I got from that, you know, I got golden morsels from that. So what I got from that is
I hope
that
so.
like, while like magic performed in real life has such a precious and present meaning for people, like when you go and perform for somebody face to face and this thing that you can't explain, and this I guess this moment where you can't help but think about anything else in your life.
Right.
With this moment, it's an amazing thing for one another. But when you
Yeah.
do it over virtual, and this is not to knock anyone who's trying to do virtual magic, because there's people
Right.
who are really
Right.
good at it right now and doing the
Right.
best they can with what Zoom
Right.
has, and that's amazing. And you should absolutely buy tickets to any virtual show you see.
Yeah, for sure.
To support the artist. But it also, they will admit that it's not seeing magic in real life.
Right.
It's just not.
Yeah. And you know,
it's just not. It's like trying to get sustenance through a screen, you know, trying to eat a plate of spaghetti you see
right
on YouTube. Like,
right.
you know, it looks good. You're like, oh, it's spaghetti. It looks real good.
But it's not the same experience.
You're not tasting it.
And that's really funny you say that, because I've seen, you know, there have been magicians in the industry that have just decided, I'm done, you know, like, and that's unfortunate. But at the same time, I think, like, for example, like me and Chad have talked about, you know, playing with virtual tricks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go through self-working, I'll put it out there because it's out there, but if you go through self-working card tricks by Carl Falves, the book, you can make any of those virtual when you really think about it.
Oh yeah, dude. And you know what's beautiful about this? One thing I do appreciate is this has, and this is kind of going off topic, but this has let a weird renaissance of in the hands like magic for people, like where you don't touch anything, where it's just a normal pack and you don't touch anything. And that's brought some of the coolest tricks I've seen and some of the best creativity, because seeing some of the like virtual only tricks come through Penguin being sold, it's amazing because it's perfect for what's going on. And this will stick. Zoom shows will stick. There will always be a medium for doing magic over camera.
Yeah.
There will always be a medium for that. So I think magic didn't realize that before COVID.
Yeah. And so that's a really good point, because recently, I'll jump back in, I'll segue back in. But you know, it's funny because I've been thinking about, I have these dreams recently about doing like a variety show. You know, like my persona is kind of like this Rat Packy kind of, like, hey, bada bing, bada boom, this and that or whatever, like flashy kind of thing. But I have yet to perform it anywhere. I've developed it. It's there. It's really good. But so I've had
Benny,
this, yeah,
soon,
soon,
very
right?
soon, very soon. I think things are gonna get better someday, and
Yeah,
soon we'll be able to perform for people. It'll
yeah,
happen. It might be
yeah,
different at first. It might be different for a while, but it'll
yeah.
happen, and we'll get
But
back to it. And performers are gonna shine, and
yeah,
it's gonna be amazing. But
yeah. But I think so. I've been playing with this idea of a variety show
oh
where
yeah,
I would host it.
oh hell
And
yeah,
my friends, it would be called like Mr. Slade and Friends or Benny Slade and Friends or something like that, where it would be me hosting it and it would be virtual. Or like I've
oh
been playing
okay,
with a whole bunch of ideas. I don't want to like say I can say it off this, but I
yeah,
don't want to do it because it's a really good idea.
it is a great idea.
Um,
Seriously.
but anyways, having different people like kind of jump in virtually, like you would be there, I would host it from wherever, and it would be a TV show. Like I was,
Yeah, no, for real.
well, let me go. So yeah, so that's what I've been kind of thinking about recently is doing like a variety show type of deal, and I don't
It's a
know.
good
It's
idea
just
because I mean, there are variety shows. I think on I haven't seen any personally, like necessarily
yeah,
everything. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because it's funny you say that. Sorry to get off topic, but it's funny you say that because the
no
last show I went to was Michael's variety
variety
show. By the way,
fantastic.
Michael Bean, excuse me, Bear of Bean and
Yeah, well,
Bear.
we can plug them. It's okay. We could Bean and Bear there in
We're gonna
quarantine.
shout
Yeah,
out to Bean and Bear, dude. They're the homies, bro. Hell
yeah,
yeah, you know what it is.
they're great.
Yeah.
So in again, like you said, but the difference is, and I've been talking to Bear about it, who is Michael Bean and Bear.
Yeah.
So the listeners are following. um, and they're performing at the artist market on the square, and they said it's a little bit different. It's
Right.
good to be performing again, but it's just different. COVID kind of it's changed it. It's sprinkled its magic dust, and it's changed into something different. So
And you know
that's
what's
interesting to
wild?
hear.
That's wild because it's like they're performing live. I haven't performed for a real person in
Almost a
at
year.
least 6 months.
Yeah,
No, it's been
but
less than a year,
it's
but
run. COVID has been out for almost a year. Christmas
almost a
time
year.
will
Yeah,
be a year
Christmas time will be. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, since it's been
because
in the
January
world,
it hit the
yeah,
news. At least my timeline. January it
right.
hit the news. February,
And then
everyone
February,
everyone disappeared from the world and went into quarantine.
early March is exactly when it started to
Yeah,
stop for me.
because we were talking
Like
about it at
I
Eddie's.
was doing exactly. We're talking about it, and I was not even like. I mean, I was
Yeah,
concerned about it, but I also wasn't like
yeah.
really like, oh, this is going to be like maybe a little.
And I had. It's funny because the last two times I came to see you, I don't know if you remember, but I had a cold. So
Oh
like
shit!
I didn't have a voice. I didn't have a voice, and I was phlegmy, and I was making jokes, coughing, saying like, "Oh, it's okay. It's just COVID stuff. It's just COVID related."
Then we were
And
just like,
like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
ha,
yeah,
ha,
yeah. It's so
ha.
funny. And then here we are, like assholes. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have died, and
Yeah.
that joke doesn't pass. So
No, I understand. No, it doesn't now. But the thing is, I mean, you can't really, you absolutely can't do that nowadays
yeah,
because this has
no,
affected life
it's yeah,
so much. Like my
yeah.
life is flipped upside down, but in good aspects and in bad aspects. And this is kind of like where I want to segue into like my like thoughts about how my creativity is weirdly shifted
Yeah,
recently.
so it's interesting because I've seen your creativity. It's changed a lot. I used to
Yeah.
come in and see you like with decks of cards all over Eddie's counter, like regardless of whether or not that's what you're supposed to be doing. But you were like
Is that
that
what
was
I
your
was supposed to be
workshop, and
doing?
you were just there like kind of it was like a science lab. Like you were there trying to figure out like crazy stuff like can I put a sponge ball in between two cards and make it appear like just things like that. But now your creativity, so I guess how because of COVID, how do you think that's changed your thinking on your magic, your creativity, and like where pushing it forward for you?
Yeah, dude. So this is a great question because I'm like there is like a stark difference of what I was creating when I was working at Eddie's and what I was doing now. I worked at Eddie's for a solid year, and then COVID happened. I think an exact year, about like roughly. maybe probably a little bit more. And most of what I was creating was completely performance based. It was completely like performance ideas
Mm-hmm.
and like staging ideas and
Mm-hmm.
like gaff ideas and joke
Yeah.
ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I was way more thinking about the performance aspect of it and performing for people because that's what I was doing. I was just
Right.
endlessly performing for people. And then as soon as COVID happened, that stopped, and I it twisted the way I think about things. I was like, what the fuck? So the only thing I could grasp onto was doing the Instagram lives, which I want to cover after I make this point, but
Yeah.
that's the only way I could really recover from that, is just going into people's Instagram lives and performing, because I just had to.
Yeah.
Now, not so much. I haven't done it in a minute, but I think performing for people is just innate, right? And once things get better, I'll get back at it. But once I started just being isolated and the focus from the isolation set in, it twisted the way I think about things. And the reason why, I think when creativity, one of two things happens. You need to experience a novel experience. To get a creative idea, something new needs to happen to you, and it needs to feel new, and you need to have a novel experience.
Yeah. It's a really good point.
It's exactly. So COVID was a big old novel experience.
Yeah.
I'm not used to being in my house. I'm not used to
Yeah.
isolating myself from people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm used to being very extroverted, and now I'm not. So
I know.
exactly.
I know.
You know what? Yeah, man.
It's
fuck yes, dude.
It's I think it's I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think it was like that for a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of things we can go into about looking at the numbers of mental health and looking at the numbers for unfortunately for people who suffer from schizophrenia and suicide and multiple personality disorders and things like that. People who are really they really suffer. It's not good for them to be isolated like that. So
and to kind of point this out, I don't want to get strayed too far from the subject, but I think mental health needs to be pinpointed in the magic community. Not in the magic community as well, actually. Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But just because of COVID,
yeah,
it's brought on so much.
Yeah.
I have OCD, and COVID just brought this into a whole nother realm for me. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. I mean, it takes you to a whole nother. I think it really does have your brain pump different, starts working differently, because now here you are in an entirely different setting. World setting, environment.
But back to the point about the creativity I was making. I think novel experiences was one, and then what I was given was a very limited set of things, because I wasn't really going out and getting things. I was ordering more from online. I don't know if that opened my experiences more or closed them, because in Eddie's I had the science experiment, right? It was there was just everything around me. I could just mess with stuff. I could tape a fucking my surroundings were controlled. One of my ideas back in the day, this is hilarious. Use this, anybody listening, use this to your damnedest, because this is hilarious. So if you have a table, you could you could press on the table with the actually, you know what? Wow, this isn't my idea. I'm so sorry. I gotta back up on this. This is Benny Chickering's idea, but I don't think he was intending this to be a trick. I think he just made it a prank.
We can cut it out if we
can
cut it
out. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't my idea.
But just you could probably just brief it and just
So basically, and this is an idea from Benny Chickering. You could from using your surroundings, and I don't think he intended it to be a trick, but you could use one of those faux shock toucher things, right?
Yeah.
And he told me about it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, that's really cool. So I started using it as a trick. I used to say, imagine my fingers really hot, and I'd have just a shitty fake like pen that shocks people, and I put it on the railing, right? And because it's metal, it'll transfer to them. And now when I touch our fingers together, they feel a shock, and it's so funny, dude.
Interesting.
It's so good. But the thing is that to everyone else, they feel like fire or something.
Yeah.
They feel it's hot. So
yeah.
it's a weird thing. So that's the kind of stuff I was making, like very situational, very like I need to control everything in the spot that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
My new creation is like, what can I make that's like, what can I take that I like and remix it,
Yeah.
or what can I do with a gimmick, or like, I don't know, elastic thread
Yeah.
that's never been seen before.
Right.
I don't know. Creativity is crazy, man.
Yeah, it's really interesting, like you've kind of gone down, and maybe this isn't the right phrase, but almost like a mad magician. You've kind of gone down this like like Albert Einstein, very like, ooh, I can do this and I can create this and maybe I can come up with something and do something, with something, it's just the amount of stuff that you come up with is just like really, really crazy. And some of it, I don't know if I can say it, but the trick you did with the dice
Right.
is like something that I'm just kind of like, wow, like
Yeah, man.
who I certainly wouldn't come up with that.
And thank you, man. I appreciate it, buddy. And I'll say this actually to kind of make a point against that. I think you could make that. I think you could, because like creativity, excuse me, is boundless. You, as soon as you think of, I want to do a trick with, I don't know, keys. If you put
Right.
keys in front of your face, put some cards in front of your face, put some gimmick making utility in front of your face.
Yeah.
One of these days, something's gonna put two and two together, whether it's original or not, whatever. If you create something, that's still something amazing. All
Yeah.
you need to do is put these objects in front of you, just say this and this. This is what I want.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. I tried to do a virtual background. That didn't really work out very well. It like
Sorry, I'm
fucking
so
cut me
sorry,
out
guys.
completely.
I'm so sorry. Wait, if we need to cut this out, it's fine. But dude, I just saw you, bro. Bro, I just what I saw was just your eyes in a space. Like that was the funniest shit. Just for a second, I was like, am I hallucinating? Do any drugs today? Jesus. Anyway,
I was like, let me see if it'll work. It didn't work very well. So there's that, ladies and gentlemen. The virtual background on this laptop does not work.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll pray for you, bud. So,
Jesus.
okay.
Well, this is how we run the MO sessions here. It just gets a little crazy.
This gets a little crazier at the Mo sessions. So, okay, but where was I? I'm so sorry.
But it's no, you're fine. That virtual background just threw us off completely. But it's it's interesting to hear you talk about creativity, because like when people think about creativity, like in the industry, like when I think about people who are creative magicians, I think about like Daniel Garcia is probably one, and Garrett Thomas are some of the biggest ones. But Daniel Garcia also at the same time didn't want to just create for magic. He wanted to create for, now he's doing something where it's a live interaction horror thing and all this other stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I think it's like one, I don't know if I can plug it. Oh, well, we're going to plug it anyway. But it's like, I think it's like one.
Because Daniel Garcia
day.
is awesome, dude. He's fantastic. Meeting him was like a religious experience to me. I've met him a couple times, but he's always just like next level, man.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's called like one day die or something like that, but it's Ian something, who's a horror movie director, and what he's doing is they're making this virtual interactive horror experiences from what I'm getting from it. But it's an interesting concept because it goes to show like creativity, for magicians, it's one thing, but when you're talking about creativity, when you're just creativity in general is applied to so many other different things that it all goes together eventually. And
it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah, when you're creating, a routine or a magic effect, there's same concepts that can be used. Like if you're doing a stage show or whatever, a routine or same thing could be used for movies.
And that, and also it pushes magic forward. If you think about magic in a context of other art forms,
Yeah.
it pushes magic forward, and it says magic just doesn't have to be magic. It can be you can use your brain to make these crazy, impossible puzzles.
Right.
You know, well,
it's trying to solve something.
Let's take like for example, my chicken routine. Remember, this is a very silly example.
Yeah, which is a great routine.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic routine.
Thank you, buddy. And just to let the listeners know what the routine is, basically, you have a quote unquote free choice of any song, and then you're able to take 4 chickens and play Smoke on the Water on the chickens. And what I want to do,
can we demo that? Can we
demo it? Yeah, I can demo it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
Hey,
it's.
Jacob, can you hand me a couple chickens?
we'll see if we can do this. If we can do it, I'll leave it in.
No, absolutely. I would be elated. You know what? I know they probably can't see this, but they're the normal rubber chicken. If you go on Amazon, you might see this rubber chicken. Definitely the one I'm holding. But
so for our listeners, the chickens are the ones that you see all over like Instagram and the videos of the moaning chicken.
Oh, my buddy Tyler, my buddy Tyler Sherwin. Shout out Tyler Sherwin. He does use the same chicken, and he cut a hole out in its ass, so it has like a little chicken asshole. And he blows into it, and it goes and like what goes and then the bubble comes out. Man. Shout out Tyler Sherwin. He's awesome. So,
I
so
love
here
this.
we have a little demo.
I absolutely love this. It's so good because, it's good. So if it sticks, then I'll keep it in. I'm very excited about this. You have no idea. I've seen you do it, not live, but I've seen videos of you do it.
You haven't seen me do this live?
No, I haven't seen you do it live. Yeah.
Damn, all right, ready? Oh, fuck, wait. Okay, hold on.
Playing the chickens is difficult, guys.
It's difficult, guys. All right, sorry. Excuse me. And that's it. That's
gold. It's gold.
It's
so
gold,
so you would you would do it in your live show. So how do you close it or open with that?
Open, dude. It's an opener for days, dude. I would open every show I did with the chickens. And the thing is, dude, what I want to do is I want to figure out a way to tune the chickens.
Tune the chickens.
So imagine this, dude. Imagine this. A bunch of rubber chickens on stage, and you're just like, name any song, and you just play that song on the chickens.
Yeah.
So but this is not magic. This is kind of music. So that's my original point. This is like, I'm not saying my dumb routine with rubber chickens is pushing magic forward, but it's also taking other art forms and giving you that novel experience in order to make something new in magic that is still engaging and still magical for your audience.
It's good. It's really good because it's not. I mean, it's a musical effect it's music with a magical effect to it, if that makes sense.
Hell yeah.
So it's like, and then I guess you think about it and it's like, well, is it a magic trick? Is it not a magic trick? Is it
that's why David Blaine's so dope. That's why David Blaine's so dope for that reason. Dude,
of course.
He'll do things that
I mean, David Blaine, well, he has an advantage. He has not just his own mind, but he also has a very strong creative team. So when he's creating something, it's I've been on a very big Aussie Win kick for a long time. I was like, but now,
dude, I've met him a couple times.
Impressed.
He has some amazing magic. Some of the most hard hitting card magic you'll ever see. Very, very. I guess. Excuse me. Very. What's the word? Risky, ballsy, very ballsy kind of magic that he always performs, and he always gets. I don't want to say lucky, but like, it almost seems like luck, because it's so impossible.
No, exactly. I mean, and so at the same time, it's like recent. I watched his Vanishing Ink. I think it was week 3 masterclass that he did.
Right.
And he talks about a trick in there, which is I forget what he referenced it to, but he had someone pick a card, which happened to be like the 10 of, I'll just say spades. Joshua J picked a card over the screen, and he put it back in the deck, and he's like, oh, well, Aussie Win. So, I knew you were going to pick that card. And he spreads the deck, and all the 10s are face up. Including, and then he's like, oh, so you picked, these cards are face up, so I know that you picked this so-and-so card.
Wow. Okay.
And
I
I
need
was
to.
like,
I'm not familiar with this routine. I need to see that.
yeah.
And he
So
has some
I gotta get.
mind-blowing
It's a really
stuff.
bad reference. I'm sorry, everybody. That tells you absolutely nothing. But
It
but
might
it
be in his
was.
book. I don't know. I mean, might be his book.
I want to say maybe it was. Nope, not gonna reference it because I don't know what it's from. I was gonna make up something. Verbal magic, maybe wand tamarines. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so then it was really good, and so obviously my buddy Chad is a really big,
Big
he's
Aussie Win
my
fan.
yeah, he's a big Aussie Win fan. He's always telling me, you got to check out Aussie Win. So I was like, oh, all right, I'll check it out. I'll see what it's about.
He's just next level. Like there's some people like him who just make me feel like, oh gosh, there's some people in Magic that just can't. They're just so far beyond and just think so forward, and it's super inspiring. It's every time I go to a convention, I always meet at least a couple of those guys, and I'm like, these guys are fucking rad.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I recently learned John Bannon's Triumph, which is from his book Impossibilia. Right. So I never knew about this Triumph until like maybe a month ago, where you have all the suits of the card that they selected, face up rather than just one card. And so then I discovered when I was going into Aussie Win stuff that he has Triumph again. What is it? Triumph again and Triumph again and Triumph again.
He does it for the bald man from Seinfeld.
Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander, yes.
Yeah.
And what's awesome is Jason Alexander is also a magician. So he was like, I'm familiar with this effect. I'm so crazy. That's crazy that you can do that again.
Yeah.
So I was seeing that. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. When I watched it, I couldn't believe that, Jason Alexander, who probably has access to, I'm sure, any magician in the world because of who he is, he saw that and he was like, wow, that's solid. That's really good.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw that and I was like,
I love seeing
similar to John Bannon's.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I love seeing celebrities who you don't think are magicians be magicians. Yeah. And my favorite of the two were Sam Raimi and David Wayne. To hear those men are magicians makes my heart so happy.
Sam Raimi, I could see. That's our next podcast, a horror movie review podcast.
Hey,
there we go.
Actually, though, I will spend a whole 2 hours talking about Evil Dead 2, I promise you.
Oh, yeah, you have no idea. The obsession with horror movies for me, classic, new, gritty, like really cringy stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. So I'll plug that in the show notes after this. But yeah, no, I mean, before I lose my thought, did you know that Cary Grant was apparently president of the Magic Castle at one point?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like in the very early days. My reference could be wrong.
Cary Grant? No way.
Yeah, Cary Grant.
I love Cary Grant. What?
Apparently, it was to attract movie stars to the Magic Castle.
Oh, that makes sense. I've never been to the Magic Castle, but I'm very excited to go one day. I know I will go one day. One day it will happen, and I'm very excited to go.
I know for a while there was talks of them doing a Magic Castle someplace else, like in New York or something like that. I don't know how accurate that is.
That would be crazy though. The thing is, I think about LA, and I immediately think about the Magic Castle.
Oh yeah.
And I've never been to LA. I've never been to Vegas, which is crazy.
Yeah, you've never been to Vegas?
Oh man, I cannot wait to go.
You know what? We've talked about this. We're just gonna set it on the record. When COVID is over,
we're going to Vegas.
Which I don't know if it'll ever be over, but
it'll be like
it'll
be over one. We will be over one day. Let's be positive.
Yeah. So when COVID is a little bit more under control, I guess is the way to put it. We are gonna start a road trip and we're gonna vlog about it. And we're gonna go to magic shops and we're gonna do everything magic on this road trip.
Yes, bro. You know what the fuck it is, bro.
Because I mean, it's a must. It's on my list.
So I just want to experience like magic, like Las Vegas, because there's some amazing magicians in Las Vegas, and I also want to go to NOLA, New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. I have an open invitation there, which I'm not going to talk about.
But I also have an open invitation.
Yeah.
Dana, my boy Dana.
Okay.
He is a busker down there, and I would love to see some of the buskers. I know on that area because this is on a need to know information basis. exactly. And I know that I need to meet these people because busking in Atlanta is far and few. And man, I was busking for years. For years, I was busking, and it was just me and Light Skinny, and that was it. Really, that was it. Well, I mean, no. Excuse me. There's Kofi also was an amazing busker. Kofi, me, and Light Skinny.
Get them all out there.
Get them all out there.
We don't want to stay there and be like, what?
Exactly. I mean, I might be missing some people, but Billy as well. He busted for us for a while. But shout out to Billy and shout out to Kofi and shout out to Light Skinny. But we are like busking in Atlanta was such an amazing experience for the time being. It was great. You gotta, dude. If you've never met light skinned Houdini.
Light-skinned Houdini.
You gotta meet him.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Those listening, you may know him already because he had gotten a bit of fame on Reddit and Instagram and World Star Hip Hop, my favorite news source. So World Star Hip Hop reposted him doing just his normal routines, and he's awesome. He's spy.
Really?
And he's fantastic, dude. He's one of the best magicians in Atlanta. I'm not.
That's awesome.
He's so far outside of what magic is and what people conceive of what magic is. That he just thinks on a different level. It's amazing.
Yeah, and talk about creativity is because you could be out there busking. Like I can only tell you how many times that I've seen people busk. Sometimes in Europe, I've been to Europe and seen all right, on this corner we have cups and balls, and then we'll go down the street and down the river or whatever. And then on that corner, they're doing something similar to that, cups and balls with a matrix routine or it's all the same.
Yes, exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro.
So that's actually,
you actually brought a good point. You brought a great point. So I would trap the fuck out of double cross. for double cross was my joint, dude. For a good solid 2 years, man. I would do double cross ad nauseam. At Eddie's, you saw me. But the thing is, I'm not gonna boast on myself, but I have a really good routine for double cross, and I just did it a lot. But the negative with that is that everyone's doing double cross. So you will get people who are like, hey, I've seen this trick before, and which is a hard thing to kind of piece together. It's a hard thing to tell the spectators, you can just buy this,
Yeah, and now, now with COVID, it's...
Oh, double crosses might be gone, for at least for right now. I know Wayne Houchin's French Kiss is definitely gone. 100%
we can
gone.
Go on and on about a list of tricks that may not be
a whole list. Card to mouth probably gone.
We've talked about it. What were your influences in magic growing up? Let's go back a little bit, and obviously we're in the same age group. So for me, it was Copperfield and heavily David Blaine.
Really?
For sure. Oh yeah. Copperfield was my my parents would record the Copperfield specials, and even before I was born, they had them on VHS.
Yeah.
So when I got a little bit older, around 6 or 7, I had all the Copperfields on VHS. So I would watch it and be blown away by Copperfield.
And that's the points that matter, that's where really what matters is the inception of where you get that initial spark from. Not really even where you first learn your first trick or this, that, and the other, or if you first started diving. It's always that spark.
Yeah.
And I think my spark, and David Copperfield is a fucking good spark, because it's the class act master.
Yeah.
But my first spark was my grandpa. I was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And he had this dime, and it vanished, and I was like, oh fuck, that's fucking wrong. And it was just a Goshman pinch. It's all it was, just the solid Goshman.
Really?
He was doing it very, very opening 2 hands, closing 2 hands. It's gone and it's back.
Yeah.
And I was floored. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow. So did he do magic, or he just kind of knew that?
No,
somehow?
He didn't do magic, but he liked it, and he knew some tricks, and he was like, I'm a grandpa, I'm gonna show this kid this trick. And
that's
then
what
that just
do.
That was just that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And and it still is to this day. I still remember it very vividly. And then my dad also showed me the salt and the salt and newspaper trick where you napkin trick where you put it through the table.
Yeah. How do
And then
they?
from there,
Do you know how they found out about these things? Like, do you know
no,
how?
I think my dad read it in some old book, but
Really?
my grandpa probably just always just did it for people, like just to be
Yeah,
cheeky.
that's Goshman stuff. You know,
Yeah,
the
man.
salt
Yeah.
shaker is originally
But,
Goshman, so
but
that's interesting.
my grandpa's now passed away.
Yeah,
God rest his soul.
mine
And,
too. I
yeah,
know.
absolutely. and I think it's just a good debt. I never got to show him any of my stuff. Never, not once. He didn't see any of my work, which is sad because he kind of died before he could. But
yeah.
um,
But I mean,
but
he was the start of the whole thing
but
for
he was
you.
the start of the whole
So,
thing. So it's
yeah.
like I know that he knows.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
exactly. No, I get
it's
that for
yeah,
sure.
man. So
Yeah.
so it's always that spark. And as far as mentors, dude, I think David Blaine for me was the like, okay, I need to do this. I saw him on
Yeah.
TV and I was like, I need to do this. And
Yeah.
then
I mean,
from there,
for the longest time, I was going around doing 2-card money.
yeah.
For playing before. So for those who haven't listened to my previous episodes, go ahead and do so. But I talk about how I took a 10-year break from Magic, but I kind of watched it all on the sideline.
Right.
And one of the things was doing David Blaine's turnover, double lift turnover. And the way he does it is it's someone told me it's referenced somewhere, but I mean, I didn't know who it was or anything, so I just started doing it at the time and doing it that way and transferring the cards. But for the longest time, I think like my set for like performing for friends and family was like all of David Blaine's street magic, like coin bite and like all this other stuff. And
that's good. Those are good tricks. I mean, it's a good way to
start off
start because
with,
it's the
I would think so.
same here, man. Like, I think for the first trick I was doing was just like 2-card transposition and like this and like 3-card money.
Yeah.
The very basic stuff, but it still got me, and this actually speaks to a lot to creativity actually, because when you start off, bro, every magician starts off imitating the magician they want to be, right?
Yeah.
Even back in the day when you're reading books and you couldn't get a conception of what this magician was like, you still read those words and you still have an idea of what that magician wanted. And also you've still seen magicians. How else would you become a magician? So you still want to be that magician that you really that you saw and that you really want to be. So there's so it's okay to kind of like imitate at first,
Right. Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I was, trying to be, I don't know, fucking Jay Noblezada.
Right. Yeah. Like self-tying shoelace.
Yes,
like
shout out Jay
SpongeBob.
Noblezada, by the way. I've never met the man, but like he was him and Oz Perlman, like early Penguin days were like that's the first I've learned about.
That's how I got into card magic was Oz Perlman. I told you this, Born to Perform.
Same here, dude. Same here.
Mean,
Born to Perform by Oz Perlman is one of the best DVDs of all time.
And then
100%.
they redid it again. You guys redid it again.
We did it again.
Like,
yeah, man.
That's when he had like straight teeth. That's when he became Oz Perlman we know today. Oz Perlman, I'm sorry, I love your teeth.
Dude, Oz Perlman's awesome, man. He's fantastic. And the thing is, like, I'll say this: it needs to be like Magic nowadays. I don't know if they have like that central thing like Born to Perform card magic, because that was my grasp, for sure. That was my grasp. That's the exact moment where I was like, okay, now I'm becoming a magician, I guess.
Exactly. So I mean, once I started to learn like Sybil cut and all this and Kalush cut and all this other stuff, then I was like, I'm learning stuff that's actually useful, like it's like, and then you're taking it to another level. But I'm curious to know, like, so as like, were there things, because for me, like, I know when I was learning magic growing up, it was for me a lot of magic kits. And there is that common story of like, I learned magic from a magic kid, and that was my first experience. But like for me, it was like I kind of knew magic already, which I talk about in another episode about how my grandmother she was part of these card clubs, like bridge clubs in New Jersey, and you go to these, it's like Lions Club type of thing, and you would go and just play cards with a bunch of people. And so I was always around cards. So like I always would see her, shuffling and things like that. So like my visualization of that was like card magic is like where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
But for me, on top of that, the thing I struggled with the most was that, like, yes, magic kits are great for kids and things like that, and I think they have their place, but there was no substantial core like foundation. It was just
No,
like I
and, and
learned this and I learned this, and
that's okay. I think a lot of people in eddies that what weren't that's most people's conception of what learning magic is, just through these
yeah,
magic kids.
yeah,
And I think the best one is probably Joshua Jay's.
yeah.